These are the moments. These are the moments I love. These are the moments that make doing this trip this way worth it. There's Turtle. Turtle been so good to us. Good boy, Turtle. He's been taking us places, giving us no problems. Knock on wood. Uh-oh, I need some wood to knock on. Let me find, oh, here's some wood right here. Let me knock on this wood. Okay. So this is the little neighborhood we're staying at. That's one end of the road. Garbage must have just got collected. And then this is the other end of the road. So, I mean, if you're from small town America, you know, this is typical. But if you're not like me and you're just loving experiencing this type of life, I wanted to just show you what it looks like. Yeah, and this is what we were welcomed to. A nice welcome break from the van. The kids can spread out a little bit. We're staying a couple of days in Tulsa to explore the town. So, and here's the porch. Those are my slippers. Welcome. First thing I did this morning was go into the van and get one of the camping chairs so I could just have that porch living. I remember reading an article that said like porch living is dying in America, and we don't have a porch at home. I would totally love a porch because I would totally embrace it. Get a couple of rocking chairs, sip on my lemonade, and enjoy porch life. So I'm enjoying that now. These are the moments. These are the moments I love. These are the moments that make doing this trip this way worth it. You know, so I'm able to get up and notice this beautiful tree. Just sit and just notice the things around me. Notice this wasp and wonder what brother, sister wasp is doing or thinking. I know it sounds silly, but it's not. To me, it's everything. I love these moments to notice the things you wouldn't have time to. Those quiet moments, you know, in the hustle of life, whether you're working or even just like, you know, on road trips, you can easily turn a road trip into like, get up, go, get up, go, get up, go, you know, because you have like a time frame. But it's just nice to like put aside that time frame and just have a set of time to just have a slow moment. I think we all could use a lot more slow moments in our life. They have us trained to think that like everything must be go, go, go. You must be productive at all times. But I feel like when I'm at my happiest, when I'm at is when I'm still, when I'm in these slow moments. So I chase them. I chase slow moments. Yeah, I do. I chase slow moments. So I hope you're enjoying this slow moment with me. Find some of yours to enjoy and see what you notice. Different businesses that was here that they were destroyed and they were not reopened. So just different types of businesses. And if you can see, it goes as far back from there down this block, and it's also across the street as well. So that's a lot of different businesses. Like this one, home bakery shop that was destroyed. This was a cigar store. This looks like it was a billiards, like a game place to hang out. So it's just real interesting to see what types of businesses was here. That's pretty cool. Oh, and of course you can see this big freeway, a highway, right through the center of a town. Like, it's so weird. I think historically black communities, the state governments and federal governments plan highways right through there. So even while taking this tour, this is all you're gonna hear is this highway traffic.
This is a courting chair from the early 1900s. Back then, when a young man and young woman took a liking to each other, they didn't go out on a date. They came over to the other person's house to get to know each other. Each sat in a chair and chatted, flirted, stared into each other's eyes, and maybe even touched hands. But not too much. The third chair was for an adult chaperone who made sure things didn't get too familiar. Walking through the Mabel house is like stepping back into time. In every nook and cranny there are items from the 1930s. These are not the original items of the Mabel family, though. They lost everything after their house was burned down in 1921. The house was rebuilt a few years later, and over time, families of survivors in Tulsa, Oklahoma donated items from the early 1900s to be showcased at the Mabel house. As one of the last remaining houses of the once thriving historic black community of the Greenwood district, the Mabel house is a powerful symbol of black resilience. To fully understand what that means, we have to face the truth of what happened here in 1921 on Black Wall Street. Did you know that the term race used to be used in America as an adjective to mark things that were created by black people? For instance, all music created by black people, regardless of which genre, was once referred to by DJs and on Billboard charts as race music. Throughout Tulsa, there are museums and monuments with plaques that retell the story of a race riot or race war in the Greenwood district of Tulsa in 1921. Calling what happened here a race war or race riot is intentional. It is meant to allude to the fact that the violence that took place came from black people. Race music, race riot. When we think of war, we think of two sides engaged in battle. There was no war in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a massacre. When we think of a riot, we think of chaos. We think of eruptions of anger. What the victims of Black Wall Street experienced was indeed chaotic and full of anger. But calling it a riot ignores just how organized and systematic the violence was. Men were separated from women and children. Houses were looted to gather all things of value before burning them down. Immediately after, the city passed a law prohibiting the rebuilding of any structure that had been destroyed due to a fire. What happened in Tulsa was an organized, white mass lynching. The goal was clear: to destroy a thriving black community. And Tulsa is only one of many towns intentionally destroyed by white violence. The Mabel house is a symbol of resilience, and that is what we felt as we explored Tulsa. Sure, we felt the weight and trauma of the massacre, but we also felt the presence of our ancestors and the power and perseverance of those who survived to tell the story.
What you guys think about the chicken fried steak? We're at Wanda J's. So we had a great time in Tulsa. I really enjoyed it. I think part of that is, after being in a van for a couple of days, we stopped at an Airbnb in a really nice little neighborhood. The Airbnb was owned by a young black woman, and when I was sitting out on a porch, I totally forgot I even did that kind of whole porch talk. I got a chance to talk to one of the neighbors right next door. It was a black woman with her son, and it was just nice to have that kind of conversation. Visiting the oldest black restaurant, that was not a planned part of our trip. It was just something that we learned about during our travels, and we were like, okay, we're gonna definitely stop there. This is along our route. And it was just really nice to talk to the owner and just kind of see that history. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so the restaurant started off as just like a neighborhood kind of smoke barbecue spot. You pretty much had to be part of the neighborhood to even know it existed, and then it flourished into a full-fledged restaurant. But they keep it simple. They just do pulled pork, and you can get a sandwich, or you can order it by the quarter pound or up, or you can add coleslaw to it. So that's it, just pulled pork and coleslaw.
And what they make is what they make. So if you don't get there in time enough before
it gets sold out, then you just have to wait for the next day. And even when we were there, we got there pretty early. We had heard from the things that we had read online that you should get there pretty early. There was definitely locals who were there, and it's just part of kind of like their daily or weekly thing. So it was just nice to just be a part, have that experience. And yeah, I never even thought about what would be the oldest black-owned restaurant in America. So that was just a nice experience to have. And Tulsa itself, it was an eye-opening experience to be in the Greenwood district, and to really learn about what happened with the Tulsa Massacre. The Mabel House was a great place to visit. It was completely free. It was attached to a community center. All of that was just completely free to go to. There's a new museum a couple of blocks away that I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like Greenwood Rising or something like that. That you have to pay for. It's a newer museum. You have to pay for to go to. But because we did some of the other things, we did our own self-guided tour. We actually didn't end up going to it.
Going through the Mabel House, it was just really interesting to see. Like there were signs around saying everything is fragile. Pretty much everything in the house was over 75 years old, and so it really they did a good job of kind of setting the tone for what the house would have actually looked like if you were there in the 1920s or 30s.
Yeah, the guide that we had, well, she wasn't a guide, but she was the person, the host, like she was sitting there when you came in. We had the whole house to ourselves. It wasn't crowded at all. I don't know how many visitors they got, but it felt amazing kind of walking through the house. And the courting chair that you saw, the teens thought that was really hilarious, as did we. It was just really interesting to see. And it actually just made me think about, what the town represented, so like, when you think about respectability politics in the Black community, all of these Black people, they did exactly what, the country had told them to do, keep your head down, work hard, live respectably. And they did all of those things. And still, these white supremacists came and took and destroyed in a very organized fashion everything they had and killed so many people there. And the government let them. And not only did they let them, the cops were part of it. We're all part of it. And it just really made me think about just so many things about, there's a lot of like Black people who say, just keep your head down and do the right thing. And here you have a whole story of plenty of people doing that. And they were treated in such a fashion.
One of the things that we really appreciated when we went to the Mabel House was the attendant that was there. She was very knowledgeable about the history. So
she was from there. Her family was from there.
Tulsa, and she told us about how, there were certain nights of the week where it was like Thursday night was the night that I think a lot of the people who had to go to the other side of town, who were like maids and butlers and things like that, they had like one night of the week off. Everybody was out. It was like the whole town was bustling on that particular day. And so she really did a good job of like giving us more than just like a room full of artifacts. Like she really spent the time with us to give us a sense of the history. And so we highly recommend that you go to the Mabel House, go to the community center nearby. If you want to check out the newer exhibit, then go for it. But you also can just walk through the area, and there are monuments and statues and plaques on the ground all over. So it's worth it just to kind of wander around that district and soak it all in.
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised that it was not a lot of people walking around. I mean, we met another father and son who were kind of doing the same thing. But I mean, it was just an amazing educational experience for all of us. And so if you're ever in the area, definitely experience Tulsa, Oklahoma. Definitely experience the Mabel House and the community center, and learn some of the things that the schools just won't teach us.
So if you're enjoying this content, then please like, subscribe, share our videos, click the notification bell to make sure that you get them when they come out. We really appreciate the support, and we'll see you next time.
Next time.